Alrighty. Let's go ahead and get this one started. You guys know the drill by now. I'd like to share all this on social media before we get this started. Give me 1 second here to do that. Should be pretty quick. See, there's one. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Hopefully, y'all are having a good day. Just sending out these tweets, letting people know that we're live, and then we'll get started with this the stream here. Let's see, almost done. I believe that is it. Yep, got that. All right. I think they're all set, folks. Let me check this really quick, make sure it's looking good. Got it on public. Cool. I think we're all set, all ready to go. Alrighty. What is going on, everybody? This is Justin Martinez, aka Jay the Sports Dude, coming to y'all live from my apartment. Hopefully you all are staying at your homes as well, practicing social distancing and staying safe during this pandemic, and I'm going to provide y'all with a little bit of extra entertainment. That's right, folks, it is time for the latest edition of Aggie Rewind, the series where I go back and rewatch New Mexico State's most recent game. And in this case, the Aggies had a pair of contests this past weekend against Utah Valley. There were some semi-home games, since it was played in Eastwood High School in El Paso, Texas. As you guys know, that's been the setup for New Mexico State for its home game so far. And it was a split at the end of the day. Once the weekend concluded, it was a loss on Friday by a score of 69-66. And then it was a win on Saturday for the Aggies by a score of 67-60. So today we're here to rewatch Game 1, which was the loss, but still I appreciate you all for tuning in to watch this with me, because win or lose, I'm going to be here rewatching it. Just a chance to kind of let the game soak in a little bit more, for me to rewatch it, have it fresh on my mind, and also just talk some Aggie hoops with you guys in the process. So thank you so much, everybody that is tuning in. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and get this one started, folks. I see some comments. I'll look at it right now. So we go ahead and get this tip-off going. Stephen M., good evening, Aggie fans. What did I miss? Then he says, any news on a G right away. Didn't waste any time there. Speaking of not wasting any time, Donnie Tillman with the quick steal and the finish. Good play there by the redshirt senior. There's no news on a G to report on. He just hasn't been a part of the rotation. He's been traveling with the team. He's been warming up during pregame shoot-arounds and stuff like that. Just not getting any minutes. That's all that it is with the G. But appreciate you for tuning in, Steven. Hopefully you are doing well, staying safe. We got a quick 2-0 lead for the Aggies. Clayton Henry with the basketball here. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. So we got Game 1 between New Mexico State and Utah Valley. For those that are new, I do have this on mute just because it's easier for you guys to hear what I'm saying. It's kind of hard to have both me and the commentators talking. So apologies to Adam and Russ, but we have to put them on mute here. Good hustle there to save the ball. And then Donnie Tillman going at it. Quick 4 points for the UNLV transfer, and that's a quick timeout for Utah Valley. Really like the intensity that Tillman came out with here. A couple of quick buckets. Throwing it down. Yeah, not really any news to report on that's in terms of New Mexico State basketball. Only thing is that Coach Jans did say in his press conference today that they're still trying to get something set up with UTRGV. That was a series that was postponed way back in the beginning of WAC play. I think it was supposed to be their second series of the season after the Dixie State one, which did get rescheduled. Obviously UTRGV has been dealing with a lot with the passing of Coach Lou Hill. So they just barely started playing again this past weekend. They had a game against Dallas Christian, Dallas Baptist. They had a game against a non-Division I team. And then they're supposed to get started with WAC play this upcoming weekend, which I believe is against, it's going to bother me. I think it's against Utah Valley. But yeah, they're going to get started with WAC play again. So we'll see if the Aggies are able to schedule something. If they were to, it would definitely have to be during the week. So you might see 4 games in a week for New Mexico State one of these upcoming weeks. But as of right now, still nothing has been decided. It would be a home game for New Mexico State. So as of right now, this is the last game for the Aggies at Eastwood High School. But they would have to play there again if they were to reschedule that series against UTRGV. Anyways, we have UTEP basketball here. Utah Valley basketball. I'm thinking of El Paso here. Fardaws Amac with the basketball. Came in averaging 15.7 points and a nation's best 15.5 rebounds per game. The Aggies did a really good job of stopping him down low. We can go ahead and just run this one back just to show it to you. Now, Amac actually did enter this series as the leader in turnovers for Utah Valley as well. I think I rewinded it a bit too far here. But look at this defense here by Tillman, and then help defense as Johnny McCants comes in. That's really what they got to do against a guy like Amac. He's 6'11". New Mexico State's tallest starter right now is Johnny McCants at 6'7". But the help defense, the way that they caved in on Amac, really the whole game was really big for the Aggies in this one. You can see right there, it does lead to the turnover. And Johnny McCants hustling the other way for the finish. That sort of was the game plan entering this series against Amac, is just clog up that paint there. Utah Valley doesn't have a whole lot of shooters. Really the only true shooter to get some real playing time for the team is Trey Woodbury. We did have a good game in this one. But outside of that, you're fine with letting Utah Valley beat you from behind the arc. You're not fine with them going to work down low because they've got 6'11", Fardaws Amac. They've got 6'10", I believe, Evan Cole, as we just saw right there. A lot of size down low, some big bodies for Utah Valley. So trying to keep them out of the paint, that was the focus for New Mexico State's defense here. Jabari Rice with the basketball. As we see Stephen M. saying, in your tenure as a sportscaster, have you ever seen a high school gym as nice as Eastwood's? Honestly, this is the nicest one that I've been a part of. There were some nice ones out there in North Dakota, which is where I worked before this, out at Minot High School. But other than that, not really. I did actually do a documentary for one of my classes for Westlake High School, which is in the Austin area. And they got a really nice gym. For those who don't know, that's actually the home of, I'm trying to think of some notable players that are in college basketball right now. Keontae Kennedy, who plays at UTEP right now, went to high school there. He was actually there while I was doing that documentary. They've also got a guy over in Baylor right now, a guy at UT Austin, 2 guys actually. So it's a pretty nice gym. They definitely take basketball seriously over there. So that's probably up there. But Eastwood is nice, though. Eastwood is definitely a nice area. I definitely would have liked to have seen it with the full crowd. I think that would have been cool. But yeah, it's a good setup. It's about as good as the Aggies could hope for, you know. So props again to New Mexico State AD Mario Bocha, Deputy AD Braun Cartwright for putting this together on sort of short notice here. You say Amac getting looked at. He's not happy. The leader in rebounds per game in the country by a considerable margin. I think it's like a 2 rebounds per game margin from him and the guy in second place. Guy goes to work on the boards, and you knew that's what he was going to do in this series. There's not really too much he can do to stop that. I think he averaged about 16 rebounds per game in these 2 contests. At the end of the day, it didn't lead to a whole lot of second chance opportunities, and then he didn't get a whole lot of shots up. So if you're New Mexico State, you got to be happy with the way that you handled that. Jabari Rice, a little step back, deep 2. He's talking a little bit to Amac there. 8-0, New Mexico State. Aggies out to a hot start. You see William McNair getting some early playing time. He does match up pretty well against Amac, but that's a beautiful pass to Overton. And this is the most lethal scorer for the Wolverines. Came into the game averaging a team high in points per game. I believe it was at around 17, if I'm not mistaken. Might have been up to 18, but I think it was around 17. Clayton had a 3-point shot, no good. Overton trying to save it. Yeah, Overton's a guy who likes to get to the rim. Not a whole lot of range to him. but just very explosive from close range. You saw it right there with the athleticism getting up for the dunk. Um, a lot of people really like Gerald Dokes for New Mexico State because of the lift that he gets on his shot, but Overton probably gets more lift than anybody in the WAC on his shot. The guy elevates like crazy for his mid-range jumpers. That's about the furthest he'll venture outside of the paint normally when it comes to getting his shot up. So, and he's at 6'6" as opposed to Dokes at 6'2". So when he elevates, it's very difficult to actually get a hand up in his face. Pretty explosive score for the Wolverines. So we see them getting it down low to Evan Cole, exploiting the mismatch there with Jabari Rice. Pretty easy there. He is the Georgia Tech transfer, I believe. Evan Cole is a grad student, as we got that one bouncing off of McNair and out. Yeah, Cole is probably the next guy right outside of their big three. Normally, the bulk of their production is going to come from Jamison Overton, Fardaws Amack, and Trey Woodbury. That's really their big three. But Evan Cole is one of those guys that when he's on, in addition to that big three, they become really dangerous, really tough to stop. It's a good pairing there with him and Amack. Like I said, a whole lot of size down low. So you see them trying to get to Woodbury there, but that one's going to be out of bounds. 8-4, New Mexico State with 15:58 on the clock. Let me go ahead and pull up the final box score here just so I can reference it every now and then. Because right now when I'm talking about these stats, it's kind of just off the top of my head. But let me pull that out so we can get the exact stats. Let's see. There we go. Cool, so we'll have that up. Shout out to NM Aggie Athletic Archive. I didn't say this earlier, I should have. But for providing this video. They post the full videos. Looks a little bit slanted. That's kind of bothering me. Is that just me? The camera that we're seeing right now, it looks like it's definitely slanting going this way. Anyways, shout out to NM Aggie Athletic Archive for providing this video. They do the full videos for sure New Mexico State men's basketball. They do some of women's and then some of football. We just played Tarleton State yesterday, so we'll see if they upload that video. But out of the way, if you guys aren't subscribed to them, make sure to go subscribe to them. Show them some love, because we wouldn't be able to do these live streams without them, so big shout out to them. You see, look at Trey Woodbury. Like I said, he's really the guy who provides some key spacing for this team. It's a lot of finishing down low, but Woodbury is able to create and get his shot up on the perimeter. Doesn't need a whole lot of space. He can pull it. Thought about it there, but he's going to get that one out. So I believe Blaze kneeled. And that shot is off. But Amack getting the offensive rebound, and Willie McNair with the good defense. The redshirt sophomore from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Willie McNair matched up against Amack. It's a beautiful find. A beautiful find. Amack can pass the ball too. Good facilitator, a secondary facilitator. Honestly, like a third facilitator since he's at that 5 spot, but still has good vision. CJ Roberts sort of had his back to him, didn't really see what was going on there. And Evan Cole rising for the slam. That's the bulk of his points. There's a lot of alley-oops. We're going to see that a lot this series. He does get called for the technical here, though, which I didn't catch at first, but he does get called for the technical. Evan Gilliard at the line here. Stephen M. says, from your vantage point at the past game, do you see any non-verbals on the bench from players that are not seeing PT? I'm guessing you mean like just body language. Is that what you're referring to? To be honest with you, I'm really not looking for that a whole lot during the game, just because, I've said it before, I'm on a really tight deadline to get the article done. So I'm typing throughout the game. I'm on social media. Posting highlights and stuff. I'm really not looking at the bench too much. I do hear, Jan's talking and some of the players sometimes because I'm not that far away from them and there's nobody in the gym. So I can hear what they're saying every now and then, but I'm not really paying attention to, like, their body language for the guys off the court. On the court, yeah, because I'm watching the game, but the guys on the sidelines, not so much, if that makes any sense. As we see Coach Madsen there yelling into Cole, letting him have an earful. 9-6 New Mexico State with 15:26 left in this one. They're going to show another replay here. I didn't hear what Cole said in this instance on this play. I don't think he said, or it looks like he said something in the air, but I don't know if it was he said something or the way he bumped into Tillman there. I'm guessing he said something. But the refs call him out on it. Stephen M., it's sad how some players are not getting PT. I don't really see it as sad. They've, when you're trying to build some momentum, and you're trying to climb the standings, I can definitely see why Jans is going to go with the guys that he trusts as of right now and have a bit of a shorter leash for the guys that he doesn't. So I could see why it's a little bit harder for the new guys to carve out their role right now when you'd rather just play Clayton Henry for 36 minutes. You'd play Jabari Rice for that same amount of time. You're going to go with the guys that you trust a little bit more. So I can understand that. And it's nothing new either. It's not like we haven't seen this before where the newer players, it takes a year or so for them to really start to build their role on the team. It's happened in prior years, so it's not too much of a surprise. I know people are really excited to see some of these newer guys, but, I could definitely see why you're going to go with the proven players a little bit more. You see Roberts getting it to Donnie Tillman. Backing down his man. He's going to go up for the tough shot, and they're going to call that one on Tillman. 9-6 New Mexico State. Trey Woodbury set to inbound it here. As we see Wilfred Lakai getting into the game, he is one of those guys that has gotten that trust from Jans on that second unit. Been playing pretty well for the Aggies off the bench, a little bit in the starting role. So you see Overton with the basketball here. Going to work on CJ Roberts. That's a mismatch. And he's going to take that one. Overton isn't the strongest guy. When you get that matchup against CJ Roberts and you got 5 inches on him, you're definitely going to take it to the hole and finish. Good take there by the senior forward. Free throw is up here, and that one is good. Tying the ball game up. 9-1 run for Utah Valley here after the Aggies got off to an 8-0 start. Stephen M., Kerr, Watson, Dokes need more PT. Yeah, I can see the excitement for them. I definitely can. It does seem like, at least with Kerr, that it's more of his approach to practice and stuff like that Jans hasn't been too happy with, just from what Jans said in the press conference. So I don't believe that's too much. I believe it's more of that than his actual play on the court. That's why he hasn't gotten much PT. And then with Marcus and Gerald, Marcus hadn't played a game in 2 seasons until he took to the court for the Aggies. Gerald Oaks is fresh out of college, out of high school. True freshman, so it's going to take a little bit of time. They got time, though. That's the thing. So you see Evan Gilliard swinging the ball around, getting it down low to William McNair. Going to go with the hook shot, but he will draw the foul. Good to see Will being a little bit more aggressive there, searching for a shot. 6'10" big man. He's been playing pretty well lately. Providing some good minutes. You see him about to get these free throws here. First one is up. Back iron and out. Throwback unis for New Mexico State in this one. I know this is some people's favorite. I do like that hints of blue there. I think that's pretty cool. Also, anytime there's like cursive font, I'm a really big fan of that too. I don't know if it's my favorite one. I think my favorite is still the black jerseys. I just think that looks a little bit cleaner, but these are up there for sure too. Second free throw is also off for McNair, so empty from the charity stripe. We got Utah Valley going the other way. Alex M says, it's hard to give young guys PT when you don't have a full season and have those games let you play young guys. Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Again, they're trying to climb the standings right now. They don't have a whole lot of opportunities to just put guys out and see what they can do. You're going to go with the proven guys. And they haven't had any real blowout wins other than that game against Cal Baptist where you can put them in garbage time. So I think definitely if they were, going 16-0 like last season, then probably these last few games of WAC play, you can afford to bring them in and see what they can do. But as of right now, not too much. You're going to give a bulk of the PT to like I said, the starters, Clayton Henry, Jabari Rice, Evan Gilliard, guys like that are going to play a lot. Alex says, Jans has to play proven guys since we are doing conference only at this point. Yeah, I agree. Stephen M. says, do you foresee any of the seniors coming back for next year? I'm not going to speculate on it. I haven't heard anything from them about it. Jans hasn't spoken anything about it. It seems like it's just going to be their decision at the end of the season. It's a toss-up for all of them, honestly. You can understand why they're not really talking about it right now. Their focus is trying to turn this season around. So, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going to happen. And I'm pretty sure that's the case with just about every team in the country. Is they're just going to wait until the end of the season and see, how the chips fall. We see Evan Cole with a missed turnaround shot. Wilfred Lakai battling for the offensive rebound or defensive rebound. Caleb Williams now in the game, the Western Nebraska transfer. Played pretty well in the previous series against Seattle, especially defensively with his job on Darion Trammell. So he's getting some more PT. So you see Roberts getting it over to Clayton Henry, and that one is no good. Yeah, Clayton struggled to get his shot going really in this whole series. I think he only had 3 points in this one. Not a whole lot more in game 2. He's supposed to be one of the better three-point shooters for New Mexico State, so when that shot isn't falling, he's not the best at putting the ball on the deck, finishing around the rim, stuff like that. When that shot is falling or isn't falling from deep, he can really struggle. So you see a three-point shot there by Latrey Darthard. You had a pair of those in this game. Stephen M., any insight for this week's straight shooter? We'll be giving our thoughts or my takeaways from this series. We'll have our predictions for week 8, I think, of WAC play it is now. And then we'll be previewing the Tarleton State series. I wish they had a designated beat writer for like a local paper at Stephenville there, because we see Trey Woodbury. Doesn't need any space to shoot. I wish they had a designated beat writer there so that way I could, bring him onto the show, have him talk about him. You see, they don't want Woodbury picking up another tech in addition to Cole. He's not happy he didn't get that foul. So unfortunately, there's no one I'm going to bring on for that segment. But, it should be a good episode still, though. I wish I could go out there to Stephenville, but I won't be making the trip. I'll be covering it from home. You see a tribute here to Coach Hill. Tragic, man. Just to pass away. Especially in the middle of a season. We had just recently coached before that. It's tough. I feel for his family and for the players as well. It's crazy that they got to go and suit up and play basketball after that. I can't even imagine how tough that is for them. So we'll see what UTRGV does when they start off or when they get back to WAC play this weekend. But, this is horrible news, man. Horrible news. You saw Jans talking about it when it happened. I think some other players from New Mexico State did. Just a shock, man, around the whole country, honestly. You see Jabari Rice missing on that shot. Utah Valley with the 1-point lead, 11 minutes left. And there is, I just said his name. I'm forgetting how to pronounce it, but another 3-point shot for him. That is Latrey Darthard. Coming in and providing some 3-point shooting. Again, the Wolverines don't have a whole lot of that. New Mexico State was pretty much daring them to shoot it. Cant's looking for the open man. Wilfred Lakai going to knock that one down. His second triple, I believe, in this one. Spreads the floor really well at 6'9" before the 5 spot. Just shooting the ball really well. I was looking on KenPom, which is where you find advanced stats. As you see, Evan Cole, that one is off. We know that Lakai spreads the floor well, but he's leading the team in 2-point percentage as well. And I want to say it was something crazy like 80%. Now, it's not on a whole lot of shots. I think it was on like 20 to 25 shot attempts. But still, efficient down low, can shoot it from deep. Pretty good defender as well. A lot to like about Wilfred Lakai, although that time they do get the bucket on him. Back and forth contest here, 21-18. Wednesday we will have our Sun News Spotlight. It's the weekly written series that we do on lcsunnews.com. This one's going to be on Donnie Tillman this week. Last week I was kind of deciding between him and Clayton Henry. I ended up doing it on Henry. But this week we'll be on Donnie Tillman. So stay tuned for that. It should be Wednesday at around noon. You'll see a travel call on Kalen Williams. Wednesday we'll also have the Straight Shooter podcast, 5 p.m. Mountain Time. We'll have our preview of the series against Tarleton State on Thursday. And then Friday and Saturday, coverage for both of the games, as always. You see Jan's not happy with Lakai there. But yeah, a whole lot of stuff to cover. 3-point lead for Utah Valley here. AMAC looking for someone to hand it off to. Overton going to roll up the screen. And look at that. Once again, Jabari Rice coming in, bringing that extra help. You can cave in because you know they don't have a whole lot of shooters. If he kicks it out and they shoot it from deep, so be it. You're going to live with the results. But what you got to do is get that extra body on him down low. The Aggies really stuck to that the whole game. They had the game plan. They executed it. They made a couple mistakes down the stretch, which Jan's called silly mistakes. There was some defensive breakdowns. But for the most part, they did a pretty good job on him the whole night. You see Donnie Tillman gets that one to rattle in. The toilet flush is swirling in there. Utah Valley with basketball here. Yeah, that's the bulk of his points. Evan Cole getting up there for the alley-oops. Not a really great shot creator himself. Does have a little bit of range. He can step out there. I think he took a shot from deep just a few minutes ago. But mostly he's going to be a rim runner. Someone they find for the lobs. Offensive rebound from Johnny McCants there, getting it out to Clayton Henry now. Tillman going to try for something. Instead, it's a beautiful pass to Donnie Tillman to Jabari Rice. And I'm actually going to write that in my notes here. Like I said, I'm doing this Sun U Spotlight on Donnie Tillman this weekend. I'm probably going to write the article after this stream is over. And what I do on that is you see Overton with the mid-range shot. What I do on that is I break down normally like 6 plays from the guy that I'm highlighting just to kind of show it. And one of the things is that Tillman's passing ability is actually pretty underrated. His assist rate, I think, is second on the team. And he's also second on the squad in overall assists. So pretty good passer at that 4 spot. And that's probably going to be one of the plays that I'll highlight. That's a beautiful pass there. The patience to let that play develop and then get Jabari Rice as he cuts to the rim. More double team action for the big men there. Now AMAC with the basketball, getting it up top. Going to be Cole down low. And look at this hustle by Jabari Rice. I hope they show the instant replay here. Let's see if they show that, because you can't see it too much from this angle. We'll see if they show that. They probably will. Here we go. Look at that. You see Jabari Rice stepping in, covering Blaze Neal as he goes up for that floater. And then, despite covering that, once Neal passes it off, Jabari is still quick enough to come down and immediately slide in front of Cole to get that contest. Just active defense by the redshirt junior. Obviously, he prides himself in his defensive prowess. But that's just great hustle by him. To be able to contest both shots there. You see Rice now getting it past half court. 3-point lead for Utah Valley with 6:17 left in this one. In this first half, I should say. Donnie Tillman thought about it. He's going to get out to Clayton instead. That one is up. Again, no good. Struggling to hit it in this series is Clayton Henry. You know, he does impact the game defensively as well on the glass. But in terms of scoring, that three-point shot is where he really counts on being productive. You see Overton, that mid-range shot, one of the best mid-range shots in the WAC probably. And that lift on his jumper as well. Makes it really tough to guard him. Rice feeling it out. He does take a spill, though. We're going to get a jump ball. Johnny McCann's diving into the scrum there. Let's see. Did he get his feet tangled up, it looks like? Might have there. Might have, but that one is going to stay with New Mexico State. Yeah, well. Aggies basketball here, down by 5. Johnny McCants trying to go at AMAC, but loses it there. Something that's happened with McCants a lot so far this season, where he tries to put the ball on the deck, you know, out around the perimeter, stumbles, loses it, you know. And a lot of his turnovers come that way. So you see Evan Gilliard with the basketball. It's one guy who does not turn the ball over very much. 0 turnovers this weekend for Evan Gilliard. You know, I did the Sun U Spotlight on him. I think it was 2 weekends ago. But one of the things that I was, you know, really praising him for was his ball security, his decision making. That's something that's really improved since he joined the team last season. You know, he was really kind of just the scorer for UTEP before he joined the Aggies. And now he really has become one of the better true point guards in the WAC, without a doubt, with his facilitating, his decision-making. And, of course, he's still able to score as well. You see Henry slipping there. That's going to be a foul. Overton at the line here. Misses the first one, and that's one of the problems for Utah Valley, is that they do not hit their free throws. I have it in my notes here because I was going to talk about it in Straight Shooter in this week's episode. But they're shooting their free throws like in the 60% range. It's like 65 or something like that. I don't have the exact one. But they really struggle as a team to hit their free throws. And they get to the line a lot. You know, as you would expect if you're a team that primarily goes to work down low, you're probably going to draw a lot of fouls as opposed to a team that only shoots 3-point shots, you know. So they get to the line a whole lot, but really struggle to capitalize on it. That's one of the things that Kyle McDonald of WAC Hoops Digest mentioned as sort of a key to this series when he joined the podcast last week to preview this. That they had to hit their free throws, and they really weren't able to do that in either game. Good ball and out there by Johnny McCants. It is going to be a foul. But you can see they're not making anything easy on AMAC. And a lot of these passes that AMAC is catching, this is another big thing. He's catching it outside of, like, he's not catching it on the block where he can immediately go to work. You know, they're forcing him to start a little bit outside to where he has to put the ball on the deck, try to back his man down and get into his spot. You know, the positioning, I think, was really key. And normally by the time he does put the ball on the deck and start to make his move, another player's already come in to help out and bring that double team. So, really good job by New Mexico State to just make things difficult for him this weekend. CJ Roberts with the basketball here. Little crossover. Finding Clayton Henry in the corner. Once again, can't get it to go down, unfortunately. Utah Valley going to go the other way. 5-point lead for the Wolverines with 3:30 left. Good steal there. Roberts saves it. That's going to be an easy finish. Oh, no, I forgot about this one. Oh, it's even worse than I said an easy finish. Yeah, Jans is upset with this one. I remember that. I don't know what happened there. I guess somebody came in and got just enough of a hand on it from behind and made him put up a weird layup. I don't know what happened, but blown finish there by Tillman. And that's a tough break because normally those steals that lead to a layup or a dunk on the other end, those are the real momentum boosts. You know, whenever your defense turns into offense, they needed one there to get something going. It's a tough break for the Aggies, and it does lead to a bucket for Utah Valley on the other end. That's normally how it goes. You know, that's normally how it goes. If you mess up on one end, the other team's going to capitalize. It just changes the whole momentum. You see Roberts driving and taking a hard foul. Fearless when attacking the rim. Guy is not afraid to push the balls. We see Alex M saying UVU will be dangerous come tourney time, minus their free throws. GCU series will be a good one to close out the season. Yeah, I'd probably put it as Grand Canyon is the biggest threat, and I would say Utah Valley is very slightly below them. I think it's really close. They just have everything that would cause problems for New Mexico State, you know, with that size down low. It will be a tough matchup for them if they met in the tournament. You know, they're probably going to have to go through one of them, New Mexico State. You know, you're going to have to go through Grand Canyon or Utah Valley probably. You still got UTRGV also in the mix. But yeah, Utah Valley is up there for sure. Free throws definitely need to get better. And then honestly, you know, as much help as they can get from outside of that big three, the better. Because right now it's very much just those three guys doing a lot of the work. Evan Cole did have a good series here, but he has a good stretch of games sometimes where he isn't too impactful. I would say he's probably their X factor, you know, just how much does he produce? Take some of that weight off of these other guys' shoulders. You see here him going up for it, and he will get fouled on the second opportunity. I am really interested in seeing UTRGV play this weekend, though, just because you know they haven't played a game or a WAC game since their conference opener against Dixie State. So they're 2-0, but you know how much does that really say when it's only 2 games? And no offense to Dixie State, but it's to one of the less competitive teams in the conference towards the bottom of the standings. You see Lakai draining it once again. It's going to be really interesting to see how UTRGV handles some real stiff competition, you know. Because they came into the season probably, I think, as my second biggest threat below Grand Canyon. I still do like them a lot. You know, we haven't seen a whole lot of Javon Levi just because he's been dealing with injuries. I think it's a foot injury. You see Jabari Rice getting the ball there. Roberts going the other way for the M1 layup. We haven't seen a whole lot of Levi. We haven't seen a whole lot of Jeffrey Cherry either. He's been dealing with injuries. He was a Defensive Player of the Year during his time at Stony Brook. You know, Sean Ray's been stepping up a lot for them. Quinton Johnson. It's tough, man. I forget who it was in the post-game press conference after this game had asked, like, how much is it the fact that, you know, you guys aren't playing your best basketball right now, but how much also is the fact that, you know, the WAC is just getting better. Grand Canyon has gotten better. Utah Valley, I think, has gotten better. UTRGV is still not sure. But even, like, you know, Seattle's been playing better as of late. The conference has definitely improved. And they're going to get better moving forward, too, when they bring in, these new teams, a lot of them from Texas with Stephen F. Austin is playing really well. Even Southern Utah is playing pretty well. It's going to get harder and harder for New Mexico State to defend its title, regardless of all the, putting aside all the pauses, the cancellations, all that stuff. It's just a tougher field now. 32-28, Utah Valley. I'm really excited for the WAC tournament, though. Really excited. Just because I think every single game is going to be good. The teams that aren't eligible, Tarleton State, Dixie State, it's not like last year where Cal Baptist, the second team in the conference, couldn't play, where a major competitor was taken out. In this case, the ones that aren't going to be eligible are the ones that are towards the bottom of the conference, So everyone that is eligible, they're the better teams in the WAC, Everybody's going to come in and honestly have a chance. I wouldn't really rule out any team, I could see Cal Baptist making a run. I could see Seattle making a run. Utah Valley. It's going to be exciting for sure. You see Gilliard with the basketball. Going to get to CJ Roberts. Squire Rice. Shot clock winding down. Has to throw that one up. Now it's going to be way off. Alex M. Dixie hasn't done bad so far. Swept by GCU/RTV, UTRGV. But rebounded the split with UVU, CVU, Seattle, Tarleton. Pretty much what we have done. LOL. Yeah, I mean, they're not bad. It's just I definitely would put them at a tier below some of these other teams. Maybe it's because I haven't seen them in previous years, but I would definitely have more confidence in like a Grand Canyon and Utah Valley. But, they haven't been bad. There's no one team in the WAC that, it's going to be an automatic win if you go up against them, There hasn't been a team like that so far this season. And they got good players. Hunter Schofield's been playing really well as of late. He's a guy that was a preseason all-WAC team selection. I think all-WAC second team by the media and the coaches. He can hoop. They got other guys in the mix. I'm blanking on their starting point guard, Gooden. I'm forgetting his first name. They've also got Frank Stain. They've got some good players, definitely. It's just not like when Cal Baptist came in and immediately, within 1 to 2 years, they're already really competing. I think it's going to take a little bit of time for Dixie State and Tarleton State to climb the standings. You see Jabari Rice, that shot is no good. One more at the buzzer. And we do have a foul as the shot clock expires. So this is going to be 2 free throws for Jabari before halftime. 33-28, trying to make it a one-possession game here. Yeah, super excited for Vegas, though. I still need to figure out how we're getting there. We don't know if we're going to drive out there or fly. Last year we flew, but we kind of did right before things got really bad. So we're not sure what the move is this time around. All of the trips we made so far, we've been able to drive. Like going out to the Grand Canyon one, we drove. Obviously to the El Paso ones, we just drive. So we haven't had to get on a plane yet. And I don't know if we will or not for this Vegas trip. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But either way, I'll be out there for sure. It's just a lot of fun too, because even we always stay at the Orleans Hotel. That's like the agreement that they have with they have like good rates for the media to go out there. It's just a fun environment, man, because you'll run into like Aggie fans just there in the lobby. They'll be staying at the Orleans too. And so, people will come up to me and talk basketball and stuff. And I'm always fine with talking basketball with anybody that walks up to me. I've gone grocery shopping a couple times here, and I'll just be like in an aisle looking for food or something, and someone comes up to me and, we'll just end up talking Aggie basketball for a few minutes. That's always fun to me. So I love being able to go to the WAC tournament and just talk with you guys. That's why I love doing these live streams. It's just fun interacting with you all. So that's just another aspect of the tournament that I look forward to. We see AMAC trying to find somebody, but he does get called for the travel here. Johnny McCann's not budging down low. Tough night for AMAC. Really a tough series. He had 8 total points this past weekend. And he had the same amount of turnovers. 8 points and 8 turnovers. I think it was on like 2 for 9 shooting. And this is a guy who came in averaging 15.7 points per game. We see Jamison Overton. An aggressive block there. He's going to get it on the other end. Kicking it out. Cole with the baseline shot. No good. Gilliard's going to go the other way. Clayton Henry looking to get something going here. Instead, he's going to give it up. McCants driving, thriving with the throwdown. Got him on the pump fake, and that just comes from earning that respect at the three-point line. You know, when he started off his career at New Mexico State, really wasn't a part of his game at all. He was not a guy who was going to extend his range. But nowadays, he is able to get people to bite on that pump fake and drive because, you know, they respect that shot now. They know he can't hit it. Been shooting a little bit too many of them, in my opinion, from deep. I do like to see him go to work down low. But still impressive out in here. 1 second, folks. All right. Sorry about that. I thought that my charger was plugged in this whole time. As we see a charge there. You can't straw on that. Good hustle by him. I thought my charger was plugged in this whole time. And then I just got a notification on my laptop that my battery's about to die. And I look over here and my charger is just unplugged sitting on the floor. But it's plugged in here. I just didn't plug it into the wall. So I had to go plug that in. But we're good. We're good to go. Rookie mistake by me. Good thing he didn't die on stream. That would have been pretty bad. 12 turnovers for Utah Valley, just 4 for New Mexico State. When you look at the stats, man, like, if you looked at the stats and it didn't say which team was which, you would think New Mexico State would have won this game. As we see, a bit of a wild shot there by Roberts. It's still something he's working on, his shot selection. But New Mexico State won on the offensive glass, 11-8, I believe. They forced 15 turnovers compared to their, I think, like 9. 15 turnovers compared to their 5. They got 23 bench points, as we see Woodbury getting the bucket down low. And they got help from that second unit. They just couldn't hit a shot. That's what it came down to at the end of the day. They couldn't hit their shots. But, you know, I think the game plan was the right game plan. And that's something that Jan said in his press conference today, is that they didn't make a whole lot of changes, similar to that Seattle series from game 1 to game 2, as Donnie Tillman knocks down a rare 3 for him. You know, I think the staff has brought out the right game plan these past few series. And, you know, they did shoot a little bit better, as we see Overton finishing down low. They did shoot a little bit better in game 2, and that's honestly all they needed to turn it around. I was saying it after game 1. If they just shoot decently from the floor in game 2, they should be fine. Like, it's a winnable matchup for sure. It was still close in game 2, but yeah, it just came down to hitting some shots here. As we see Gilliard, a little sidestep in the bucket. 1 point lead for Utah Valley now. As we see Neal barreling into the lane, and C.J. Roberts is going to draw that charge. Career high 13 points for Roberts in this one, although I think it wasn't 4 for 12 shooting. Let me go ahead and double check that here. 4 for 12 shooting, so. You know, efficiency, I sound like a broken record, but efficiency is still a thing that he needs to work on. There was one of these plays, I don't know if it was in this game or the second one, where he put up a shot and they call a timeout afterwards, and I could hear Jans telling him, you know, Not like really, not shouting at him. He wasn't too upset about it, but he was telling him like you don't need to play hero ball. He was saying hero ball. That he can just pass it up. He can definitely score. We know Roberts can score, but he's getting more people involved. Although that time he does knock down a 3-point shot. It reminds me a little bit of like Evan Gilliard when he came in. I think Evan came in as a better passer than Roberts did. But still, in the sense where it's a score-first type of point guard, now having to learn to facilitate a little bit better, to pick his shots a little bit better, as we see Cole getting the N1. So we'll see if Roberts can do that, if he can really buy into that system more moving forward. Maybe by next year, be a little bit more well-rounded, but for sure already we know he's going to be able to get you points. And, if that's his only role, then that's fine. You could use just a spark plug off the bench. But even then, if you're going to be a spark plug, you still got to shoot the ball efficiently. You know what I mean? So we'll see. We'll see. There's definitely potential with them. Obviously, he's a former 4-star recruit for a reason. We'll see what he does moving forward. So we see Cole at the line here for one. 9 points, 4 boards. Good outing for Georgia Tech transfer. From Atlanta, Georgia, I believe, too. I think that's what they said in the intro for this game, when they call it the starting lineup and stuff. I'm pretty sure I heard Atlanta. Wilfred Lakai with the basketball here, getting it out to Gilliard. 15 on the shot clock. Searching for something here, getting into the lane. And we're going to get a foul. So tough to stay in front of Gilliard. Just the way he can accelerate. But that one is going to be on the floor beforehand. Henry kicking that one out. 16 on the shot clock. Back to Gilliard now. Roberts with the basketball. They're going to have to put something up here. Getting into the lane. He can normally hit that floater. That one is going to be off. A little touch pass. Nice find there to get it to Cole for the slam. 41-38. It's a close one here. Really was close the whole contest, man. These are the ones that as a journalist, you're not a big fan of because, you pretty much got to write 2 articles, one in case they win, one in case they lose. Because it gets sent in for print like 5 minutes after the game's over. So when it's a close game like this, it's tough. It's tough to cover it and getting in for our deadline in time. And both of them were this past weekend. They did not make it easy on me this past weekend. As we see Lakai with the bucket, good hustle. I think for this game, I got the story in literally the minute it was due, which is 9:30. And I think game 2, only reason I was able to get it a little bit earlier is because the game got drawn out with those fouls down the stretch, and you could already pretty much tell New Mexico State was going to win. So I was able to finish it. I think I submitted it like 5 minutes before the deadline, but both of these games pretty stressful from a journalist's perspective. Which is funny because that's something that not a lot of people really think about, the behind the scenes of putting that together. I had one person during game 2. I don't think it was an Aggie fan. I think it was a Utah Valley fan. But for those who don't know, when I'm covering the game on Twitter, I'm putting out live tweets, updates throughout the game, every 3 to 4 minutes, maybe 5 max. It's normally pretty often. Unless it's a blowout, then I'll start to space them out because you don't need to hear anything every 2 minutes, You see the 3-point shot there. But it was down the stretch of the game, of game 2. And I put out a tweet 2 minutes prior to this. And somebody tweets to me, is any updates on the game? It's dude, I just put out a tweet 2 minutes ago. I'm trying to write this article at the same time, man. to do stuff 2 minutes apart is pretty good. Like, I'm not going to put out a tweet a minute, you know. I'm not going to just flood people's timelines and stuff. But I just think that's funny. Some people kind of don't see that I'm having to multitask. You know, my job isn't just to live tweet the game. My job is to also have an article written as soon as the final buzzer sounds, you know. But I just thought that was a little bit funny. You see Roberts getting into the lane here. Aggies with a 2-point lead. A little blow by. Going with the right hand there, kind of forcing him to foul. He's going to get free throws now. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Hopefully you all are doing well. Lucy Roberts with the charity stripe. One more for the Ranger College transfer, about to go up against his former head coach, Billy Gilliard, this upcoming weekend. And also some former players, some former teammates as well. You know, Coach Gilliard brought a good amount of Ranger College players to Tarleton State. I believe Montre Gibson being the biggest one, who is their leading scorer right now. And a few others, so that'll be interesting to see him go up against his, some familiar faces. Cole thought about the three-point shot there for a split second, but he's going to kick it out here. Cole drawing a double team. Amison, Overton somehow able to save that. It's still going to be no good. Just speaks to the hops that guy Overton has. He's somehow able to corral that wild pass. You see Evan, a little snatch back shot, no good. Just so good at creating separation, though. And then Clayton Henry working on the glass, something he does so well. At only 6'4", able to impact the game. Like I said, when his shot isn't falling, still able to impact the game in other ways. There he is there, battling against Overton for it. Overton got pretty banged up this weekend. You see right hand injury, but also down the stretch of this one, he had what looked to be, I believe it was a right foot or ankle injury, something, where he needed to be helped off the court with about 5 or 6 minutes left, and he didn't play the rest of the way. He did play in game 2, looked just fine, but yeah, he got banged up in this series. Latre as well there. Looks like he's limping a bit. Looks like it's maybe a dislocated pinky, I think I saw there. For Overton. Scoring drop for UVU here. Pretty much the last 3 minutes. Aggies had a chance to win this one. This one was up for grabs. I believe it was it Colin Deaver? Someone in the post-game press conference had asked, it was Colin Deaver. He had asked that, you know, they were in a lot of close games last season, and it just seemed like they always had that killer instinct to finish it off and get the win. And Jan just said that, yeah, you know, it's different this year, that you don't quite have that killer mindset just yet, especially down the stretch when the game's on the line. At least in the cans, he's really been banged up these past few weeks as well. Yeah, they just haven't been able to finish down the stretch of these games whenever it is within reach. You know, Saturday was a good sign because it was a close game and they were able to win. That's something that Jan just talked about. And whenever I'm referring to these press conferences, if you guys, obviously I'm going to be paraphrasing because I don't remember word for word what they've been saying. But if you guys do want to go back and watch the full press conferences, we do have that here on our YouTube channel. And we're going to put it on LC Sun News from now on also as well, in addition to the YouTube channel. We'd only been posting the press conferences on YouTube, but we're going to post them on our website as well, so you guys can check that out there. You see Roberts looks like he got hit in the eye there. But yeah, any press conferences that Jans does or a player does, whether it be post-game ones or Jans' weekly one, we always upload those. unedited, so that way you guys can watch the full thing. So make sure to take advantage of that. We got New Mexico State ball here. And we don't just do that with basketball, we do that with football, with women's basketball. After New Mexico State football has lost to Tarleton State, we posted the post-game press conference with Coach Martin, which is also here on our site, so you guys can check that out. It's not just basketball content here. We're trying to get a little bit more stuff going on. When high school football starts, we'll have videos for that as well. You see a loose ball here. And is that Kaylin Williams? It is Kaylin Williams getting in there. Should go to Utah Valley, though, I believe. Right? Is the possession going to Utah Valley? It might. No? Maybe stay with New Mexico State? Johnny's somehow staying in bounds. And yeah, it is staying with New Mexico State. Okay. Clayton Henry with the basketball here. 18 on the shot clock. Roberts open look. No good. He'll take that. That's a wide open shot, but couldn't get it to fall. New Mexico State didn't shoot too well from three in this game. 7 for 29, which is 24.1%. So still a 3-point lead for the Aggies. Trey Woodbury with the basketball here. Going to work on Donnie Tillman. Good job by Tillman there getting a hand up. Can't give Woodbury any space. He makes tough shots look kind of routine for him. He's able to knock him down. Not that time, though, and it's going to be the other way. Williams driving, thriving. But I believe he had a foul before that. I do have it on mute, guys. For those keeping track, I say that about 3 times every live stream. I do have it on mute, so sometimes I'm going to be a little bit lost. That one does get called off. I guess it was a foul on the floor. Tillman, another foul drawn. Aggies got to the line a lot in this one, but they shot uncharacteristically poorly from the line. 11 for 20, 55% from the charity stripe in this game. Especially in a close contest where it ended up being a 3-point win for Utah Valley. You just can't have that. You can't be giving up these easy ones. There's one of the misses. And that was in a bonus situation, so no second free throw for him. Wolverines with the basketball now, down by 3 points. Here at Eastwood High School, that's a tough finish. A tough finish at the rim by Jaden McClanahan. CJ Roberts with the basketball now. Getting it to Clayton Henry, back up to Roberts. And he's swinging it around. Williams going to penetrate, kick it out. Another chance, and this time Roberts will knock it down. 4-point lead. Like I said, career high 13 points from him in this one. I think his career high before that was 11, I want to say. Honestly, that might have been in the first game, too, because I know we had that scoring stretch against Arizona Christian. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think that 11 points was against Arizona Christian. If not, then Benedictine Mesa next time around, but 13 points for him in this one. Someone with the basketball getting it out to McCants. Now back to Roberts. Looking for that screen. That time, no good. He just has his head down, though, when he's driving like that. Not really looking for some other options. Getting more guys involved is the big thing with Roberts. Lucy Rice now in the game. You can just tell Rice has been putting on some muscle. Still needs to get a lot stronger still. He can still get stronger definitely, but when you compare it to when he came in to New Mexico State a few years ago, you can see he's definitely been putting in some work in the gym, getting stronger. We see a turnaround shot there by Overton. Yeah, credit has to be given to Rice just for his work ethic, man. I said it at the beginning of last season, prior to the start of last season, that he's from Houston, Texas, but he didn't go home that summer. He decided to stay in New Mexico State, work on his game, add some muscle. He speaks to his work ethic. Pretty sure he did the same this past summer as well. He only went to Houston just for short periods of time to visit family, but mostly he was on campus. You see Roberts, good hustle to get that steal. Rice, no good. But Williams with the rebound. He's going to take this one back out. McCants now at the three-point line. Also no good. Tillman now with the board, but it's going to be a foul. You love the hustle by the Aggies, but they just can't get a shot to fall. Dan just talking to the refs here, I believe. Not happy with that foul call, but effort definitely wasn't the reason why New Mexico State lost this game. Obviously, you don't want to say moral wins. I know a lot of coaches really don't like that term. At the end of the day, the job comes down to if you win games or lose games. So I get that. But, New Mexico State showed improvement in this game. They played well. They hustled. They had effort. Just couldn't hit a shot. But it's not like the first game against Seattle where you can tell they just weren't playing with as much heart as they normally should have. That's the game where they take a step back. And this one you lose, but I did think that they played better. Really this whole weekend I thought that they definitely improved. Alex M., how do you see Robert so far? Yeah, I mean, I've been talking about it. I think that he can definitely score the basketball. It's just facilitating, getting other guys involved, shot selection. He does tend to play some hero ball sometimes, And, if his role is to be a spark plug off the bench, then that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. As you see Evan Gilliard missing the shot. You could always use spark plugs off the bench. Not everybody has to be that star player that comes in and does everything, that stat sheet stuffer. I think the Aggies would be fine if he just consistently gave them points off the bench. But even if you're doing that, you got to do that efficiently. 13 points, that's good for him tonight, but 4 for 12 shooting. I think no assists or maybe 1 assist in this one. Yeah, 0 assists in this one in about 26 minutes of play. Like, at the point guard spot, you definitely got to get your guys more involved. So that's really the thing that I think he needs to improve on. Just with his facilitating, patience with the basketball. The potential is there. He was a former 4-star recruit for a reason. The guy can score. He has good control around the rim. It looks like he does hustle on defense, as you saw with that play just a few possessions ago. Just needs to embrace that facilitating role a little bit more. Stephen M. says Rice is putting on weight. I haven't checked how much the actual pounds have changed since he joined the team. But I mean, you can tell, as we see him getting the shot there. You can tell right there. His chest looks a little bit bigger, a little bit more defined on the arm. Still definitely not like a bulky player, but just a little bit more lean. And it also just shows in the way he's attacking the rim. He's become one of the better finishers for New Mexico State. Where when he joined the team, really wasn't the case, And that comes with that strength that he's been able to gain. So, yeah, credit definitely has to be given for him. He's definitely one of the hardest workers, if not the hardest worker on this team, I'd say. You see Tillman with the basketball. Going to work on Woodbury, and he gets that one to fall. Aggie's trying to close out this one, start a win streak. They got a 1-point lead right now with 5:53 left, and we're going to have a foul here. I'll get fired out as AMAC. quiet game for him scoring wise. Still had the rebounds. I think he had 17 in this one, which is insane, but that's where you expect that from him at this point. You're not going to be able to take that away from his game, but they made just about everything else difficult for him. So good approach, good game plan and execution by the Aggies when it came to guarding him this weekend. Free throw by him is up, and there's those struggles from the line that I was talking about. This team would be a lot more dangerous if they were hitting their free throws. Because not only are they physical down low and hard to stop, but if you foul them, if they also capitalize on that, it'd be tough. That's something they got to improve on. Tie ball game, though. MAC does tie it up. 5:40 left in the contest. 52-52. Appreciate everybody for tuning into this live stream. If you guys are enjoying this, please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't. Always appreciate when y'all do that. As you see Roberts finishing around the rim, checking his hand, he's feeling it. Yeah, we know that he can finish around the rim, for sure. And this is this play here that I was talking about with Overton. I think he came down on a teammate or something here. But it looks like his right, he's kind of signaling the front of his foot. Looked like he was holding his ankle at first, but then he was kind of saying like his front of his foot here. I don't think he played the rest of the way, and you can see he does have that pinky wrapped up too, so he got banged up in this series. Yeah, no, it's the ankle then. You can see the trainer holding it there, and him wincing. Tough to see. You obviously hate to see anybody get hurt. Especially a guy that's this impactful for them, the leading scorer. But he does have to get helped off. Looks like he can't really put any weight on it. You get a replay. I actually haven't gotten to see the replay for this yet. I didn't see it during the game. Oh, yeah, nah. Turned it. Just turned it there. Yeah, so definitely an ankle sprain there. So for game 2, I get there a little bit early for the games just because I like to see, who's warming up, stuff like that. So before the game, we didn't get a whole lot of shots up. It was mostly kind of like what we saw with Jabari in the series against Cal Baptist, where most of the shoot around, he's stretching, he was getting looked at by the trainer, getting his ankle wrapped up, all that. He got a few shots up in like the final 2 minutes of shoot around. For the most part, it was a lot of stretching. He did play the whole game, so you see Woodbury knocking it down. But yeah, it's a tough kid though. He still played through it. Wolverines definitely still have scoring with a guy like Woodbury on the court. So 1 point lead for Utah Valley. Roberts getting into the lane there. We do have a foul. I saw a tweet recently by Kyle McDonald for Black Hoops Digest, and he was doing player rankings, which I thought was really interesting. I think Overton was towards the top of that. I think he was like 4 or 5 or something like that. I haven't really put in too much thought, into player rankings. I've started to think about who's going to be on the all-WAC first and second team. But that rankings is a little bit interesting. I don't know where New Mexico State guys would fall. It's kind of hard to place them somewhere. And I was saying it before the season started too, that it's hard for one guy to really stand out on this team because they pride themselves on their depth. It's not really a whole lot of isolation, just letting guys go to work. So, the stats might not show it as much for a guy like Jabari Rice. His stats aren't going to be as high as a guy like Darion Trammell for Seattle or, a guard like Woodbury. But that is interesting to me. I wonder where they would fall on the player rankings. You see Utah Valley with basketball. Getting it down low to Cole. Jeez. Slamming it home. I'm interested to know who you guys think is the best player in the WAC, though. I'm really interested in knowing that. So feel free to comment that. Let me know what you think. I kind of go back and forth as we see a good find there to Johnny McCants. I go back and forth. I think it's between probably Abjor Midgard and probably Darion Trammell. I give the edge to Midgard just because, he's on the better team. So I think if we're doing like a WAC Player of the Year award, I'd give it to him. But it's pretty close. I think it's between those two guys. Fardaws isn't far off. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked here. 1 point lead for New Mexico State with 3:49 left in the contest. And there's a look at AMAC there. He is a transfer from Mercer, I believe. I think it's going to bother me if I don't look this up. I believe it's Mercer. But only a redshirt sophomore. Which is pretty crazy. Yeah, he was at Mercer. Looked a whole lot different. He didn't have a beard over there. He had like a little goatee I'm looking at. Beard looks a lot better than the goatee, I think. Tilton with the basketball here. Kicking it out to Johnny McCants. 6 on the shot clock. They're going to have to do something. Rice looking for that contact but doesn't get it. McCants almost got that steal there. There's McClanahan with the basketball now. 1 point lead for the Aggies. 3:10 left. AMAC wants it. They're going to get it to him down low, and immediately that help defense by Clayton Henry. And again, AMAC is catching these passes outside of the paint. Lucy Woodbury knocking it down. AMAC is having to go to work. He's not catching it immediately in his spot. So by the time he does get into a spot, that double team is there. And that's what the Aggies are going to have to do for a lot of these really good teams in the WAC. I've talked about it before. You see Gilliard almost passing it up. Or turning it over, I should say. That's a 3-point shot that's no good. That's what they're going to have to do because a lot of these top teams in the WAC have guys that are going to cause problems with that 5 spot. Grand Canyon, they got 2 of them. Midgard and Lever, 6'11". 7 foot for Midgard. I think 6'10" for Lever. In this one, they got 2 guys with Cole and AMAC. Both of them 6'10", 6'11". Gorjak Gak at Cal Baptist is 6'11". Jeff Ucheri, who hasn't played a whole lot for UTRGB. I think he's 6'11". He might be 7 foot. A lot of these top teams have really tall centers that are going to cause problems for New Mexico State. So I think that's one of the bigger takeaways from this series is that even though they are undersized, they can still hang with these taller guys. It's something that was really in question entering the series because they got manhandled by Midgard. They got manhandled by Gap. This is the first time where they really brought the right approach to it. And so hopefully they can build on that because in the WAC tournament, you're going to have to go through some really good centers. You see a 3-point lead for Utah Valley. 1:56 on the clock. Henry getting it to McCants. Now to Rice. Wide open. No good. McCants with the rebound. I remember this sequence of plays. Gilliard also no good. Another rebound by Tillman. Yeah, this was tough to watch. Another chance here. Now it's McCants. Also no good. Just couldn't get the bucket. I was actually going to make that my scene my opening intro for the article. Just all those misses and offensive rebounds. I thought that really encapsulated, that really summed up the whole game perfectly. Hustling on the glass, but can't make a shot. As we see Woodbury with the N1. That was going to be my intro for the article, but with it being a close game, came down to the last possession. I had to make that the opening scene instead. Stephen M., you are right. We are lacking at the 5. We need Kerr. I knew it was going to come back to Kerr for you, Stephen. But no, but like I said though, even though they didn't have a guy like Kerr out there for most of the game, um, you're not going to have one guy like Johnny. Obviously, can't handle some of these bigger guys just on his own. But just bringing that help defense makes all the difference in the world. Um, and I'm surprised they didn't apply that a little bit more against Grand Canyon and Cal Baptist. They did a little bit, but really from the start of this game to the finish, that was kind of like the main focus for New Mexico State's defense is that we're not going to let you bully us down low, especially with AMAC. As long as they bring that help defense moving forward, obviously they can't do it with every team. You can't do it against a guy like Gak because he's going to kick it out to shooters. It works with Utah Valley because they don't have as many three-point shooters. But still, that really was a difference maker in this series, especially in Game 2 when they got that win. It was just that they did a really good job of kind of taking AMAC out of it offensively. You see Gilliard with the basketball here. Johnny McCants now. Aggie searching for something. And Gilliard is going to draw the foul. Really good at drawing contact. Really good at selling it as well. It's definitely something that he's good at doing. Whether it be selling the foul or selling trying to draw a charge. Just savvy moves from the veteran guard. You see him at the free throw line here. First one is up, and it is good. Yeah, but I mean, to go back to the Kerr thing, like, as exciting as Kerr is, I just don't see how some people are saying, like, we need to start Kerr right now. Like, you're trying to make a run in the WAC. You're trying to get something going. I think the last thing you need to do is experiment there and take out somebody like Johnny or like Donnie, or somebody that just hasn't been able to prove themselves yet. He hasn't had the chance because he hasn't had a whole lot of minutes. But now's just not the time to try something that drastic. I think. Especially because it's not like there's a glaring weakness from this series. Like, Johnny held his own. If he was playing horribly, then even then, I still think you would try out Wilfred Lakai at the 5 spot, which is what they've done. I'd rather have Wilfred Lakai starting than mine Kerr right now, just because I know what I'm going to get out of Lakai, at least. I think if this was last season, where like I said, they're 16-0 or something like that, you could probably experiment with it a little bit more. But as of right now, I'm just sticking with the guys that I trust, honestly, more than a guy like Kerr right now. We get a timeout here. 5-point lead for Utah Valley. Because I've seen some people saying that they would rather start Marcus Watson right now too. Even like someone said Gerald Oates, but like Marcus Watson too. Like, it's not going to happen over Jabari Rice or Evan Gilliard or Clayton Henry. You got to go with the veterans in this instance. Jan's talking it over with his team here. You see, like, I think that's Coach Barker there. Evan was having a post-game interview after Saturday's game, and we were like, so pretty much he's down there at the court at like a little table doing his interview. He's got the Zoom or the laptop in front of him to do the Zoom call. I'm like not that far away from him. I'm in the bleachers, also on my laptop doing the interview with him. And I think I got like 2 questions into the interview. And in the middle of the interview, as we see Gilliard with the and one finish, in the middle of the interview, I just hear somebody saying like, hey, my man, you over there. And I'm like, what is going on? And I look, and it's Coach Barker, and he's down there at like the tunnel, and he's like, What's your name again? What's your name again? And while this is going on, the SID is asking like any more questions for Evan, and I had more questions, but Coach Barker is here like asking my name, and I was like, "What's?" I was like, "Oh, it's Justin." He's like, "Oh, good to meet you, man. I'll follow you on Twitter." And I was like, "Good to meet you too." And then by the time that exchange ended, the team, as we see the dunk there by Cole, the team was like, "Okay, I guess there's no more questions for Evan." And so that's why the video for that interview was so short. I think it was only like a minute and a half long. You see Jabari Rice getting into the lane. That's why it was only like a minute and a half long, was because Coach Barker distracted me there down the stretch of that interview, and so it got cut off a little bit earlier. Um, anyways, Alex M saying maybe just worried about players leaving due to lack of PT, especially the more heralded ones. Yeah, that's always a possibility for sure. But at the end of the day, Jans has always been somebody who's very direct with the guys he brings in, saying like what they can expect. I highly doubt Jans had built it up during the recruiting process, saying like you're going to come in and immediately be one of our main guys. And they probably knew what they were in for coming into the season. That you're going to pay your dues, you're going to have to earn your minutes. You probably told them that, I don't know the exact pitch, but you probably told them, we've got a lot of returning guys that we're going to lean on, and you're going to have to carve out your role, That's something Jan just said a lot, is that he's very direct with the people that he's recruiting. I've talked to guys like, as we see the turnover there, I talked to guys like Trev. I've talked to him about it. I've talked to Donnie Tillman about it. Just what is the main thing during the recruiting process that makes you go with New Mexico State? And it's just how direct Jans is with them, letting them know what to expect. So I think that definitely helps. That I doubt they're being blindsided by the fact that they haven't gotten a whole lot of PT. We see Gilliard missing the layup there. Loose ball. Utah Valley somehow getting it, and then a lob to Cole. But it was a foul beforehand, it looks like. Some chaos there. Utah Valley getting it there. We got free throws now. Yeah, just chaos down the stretch of this one. And not a fun game to write if you're a journalist, because you just got to go back and forth with two different articles. Free throws off by AMAC. There's those struggles from the line again. One more. He's practicing the shooting motion there. 4 points, 16 rebounds. And I believe 6 turnovers in this game. He gets that second one, and it is a 3-point contest. They get a timeout here. New Mexico State in need of a bucket. Doesn't have to be a 3. They still do have a timeout so they can get something, foul, call a timeout. Definitely crunch time here for the Aggies. Once this game is over, we'll look up the final stats. I'll read off some quotes from Coach Jans. And of course, if you guys do want to watch the full press conference, you can do that here on our channel afterwards. We do have the full video up. So Jan's talking it over with his staff, now talking it over with the team. Drawing something up. Let me start pulling up this article so I can get the quotes. Pull up all of that stuff. Shout out, by the way, to New Mexico State volleyball head coach Mike Jordan. Just picked up his 500 win today. The big 5-0-0. So shout out to him for that. We do have an article on that on lcsunnews.com. Jason Groves talked to Jordan about that. So if you guys want to check that out, it's up on the site. Gilliard swinging it around to Jabari Rice. No good, but the foul on Woodbury. Crazy how this one turned out. For those who remember, the last time these two teams played was last season at the Pan Am. And down by 2, Jabari Rice, or down by 1. Either way, Jabari Rice with a game-winning 3 with less than a second left on the clock. This time, very similar. Gilliard also racing the ball down the court, same as that last game, getting it to Rice on the perimeter, and him shooting a 3. Now he needs 3 free throws, though. First one is up. And this is the tough one. Back iron, the rim's out. So now in the situation, only 7 seconds left. You gotta miss it on purpose. Yeah, so in this case, gotta miss it on purpose. Try to get a rebound in the bucket. Johnny McCants to Roberts. Oh. It's a good look. As good as a look as you can hope for. Tough break for the Aggies, and of course it's AMAC getting the offensive rebound. The defensive rebound. Who else? Tough break. Yeah, especially because Jabari is one of the better free throw shooters too. I'm sure that was eating at him that he missed that second one. AMAC is now at the line. I couldn't find this article here. Our site is not the best when it comes to searching articles. It's very difficult. Okay, here it is. I found it. But yeah, I will have quotes that I'll read off after this and the final stats once this is over. AMAC 3 for 7 from the line in this one. Also no good. Really struggle from the charity stripe. Something that's plagued Utah Valley all season. He has another chance here. Obviously, Utah Valley not putting anybody in the paint. No need to there. Really just trying to defend it in case it was a rebound and a quick pass. We got a timeout. 3-point lead for the Wolverines with 2.4 seconds left in this contest. Now, it is a timeout, but it's not the NBA where you can advance the ball, so the Aggies have to go full court here. I believe it's Johnny McCants to inbound it. You see Jan's talking things over. Appreciate everybody for tuning in to this live stream. Hopefully you all have enjoyed this so far. Tomorrow we will be rewatching Game 2 between these two teams, which was a New Mexico State win. Same start time. We're going to watch it at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, so I hope you guys join me for that. But, yeah, win or lose, we're always rewatching these games every Monday and Tuesday, so appreciate those who consistently tune in for it. I have a lot of fun with it, man. I have a lot of fun with it, especially because I also, I write preview articles like a few days later, so it's good to rewatch this so that way I can talk about how the game went down. I do my takeaways from my podcasts, usually like the day after these live streams, so the games are a little bit more fresh on my mind once I rewatch them. Helps for like the Sun U spotlight for picking out some plays and stuff, so I enjoy doing it. Always down to watch some basketball and talk some basketball with you guys. We got a pretty lengthy timeout here. Maybe Clayton Henry there. hasn't been able to get his shot this series, or wasn't able to, I should say. Still impacts the game in other ways, but at 3-point shooting, the Aggies need it because that's definitely one of their struggles is 3-point shooting this season, and Henry's one of the guys that can provide that. Alrighty, here we go. Gilliard, Lakai. We do have Henry on the bench. That's a little bit surprising. Roberts on the court. McCants to inbound. One last chance for the Aggies. And that's Evan Cole getting the steal. And that'll do it, folks. Utah Valley 69, New Mexico State 66. Tough loss. Tough loss. Again, not from lack of effort. I feel like they did play pretty good basketball. For the majority of the game, they did have some breakdowns down the stretch, but for the majority of the game, thought they played pretty well. Thought they brought the right game plan. Came up short. Came up short, folks. So we're going to go ahead and read off these final stats. Let me just, so that way it's not a black screen. Let me just put that there. But yeah, let's go ahead and look at the final stats here. For New Mexico State, it was C.J. Roberts with that career-high 13 points to go along with 3 rebounds on 4 for 12 shooting. Then we also had Jabari Rice, 12 points, 3 assists, 5 boards, and then Donnie Tillman, 10 points and 3 rebounds. The Aggies shot 24 for 63 from the floor. That's 38.1%. 7 for 29 from deep, which is 24.1%. And 11 for 20 from the charity stripe, which is 55%. It's not good shooting splits for the Aggies. They did only commit 5 turnovers. That's a really encouraging sign, but at the end of the day, it came down to just not being able to make shots. A look at Utah Valley, it was Jamison Overton, 18 points on 8 for 10 shooting to go along with 1 rebound and 1 assist. Now, again, he did suffer what looked to be a right ankle injury. Missed the final few minutes of this one, but he did play on Saturday and played well, in fact. And then 15 points apiece for both Evan Cole and Trey Woodbury. And Fardal Zamak, 6 points, 1 for 2 shooting, 6 turnovers. However, he did get his 17 rebounds. Only 3 of which were offensive rebounds, though. So, like I said, good job by the Aggies to keep him about as contained as possible. Wolverine shot 27 for 47 from the floor, 57.4%. 4 for 12 from deep, 33.3%. Again, they don't shoot a whole lot of those. And then from the free throw line, they did struggle, which is the norm for them. 11 for 24, which is 45.8%. Let's go ahead and look at these quotes that we got from Coach Jans. We have 2 of them here. This is him talking about the loss. He said, quote, "We had a hard time making baskets for the majority of the night. We struggled from the field and struggled from the free throw line. We're sick and tired of feeling like this. I know I am. I'm assuming the guys are too. We've been down this road too many times." He's obviously talking about coming up on the short end of things. Specifically on Fridays, though, that really has been a trend where they don't come out and win in that first game of the series. And I've said it before, but in the WAC tournament, there is no second game the next day if you lose. It's win or go home. So the Aggies definitely have to find a way to play the way they do on Saturdays on Fridays, to do it both games. That's going to be really big for them moving forward. And then this is Jans also talking about the final minutes of the game. He said, quote, "We had some silly decisions defensively the last 6 to 8 minutes of the ball game. We weren't very smart. We strayed from our coverages that had been working. Utah Valley made us pay," he said. So yeah, that is the first game between New Mexico State and Utah Valley. Now we are going to rewatch Game 2 tomorrow at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. It was a 67-60 win for New Mexico State. So if you guys want to join me for that as well, then feel free to do so. I would really appreciate if you did, because it's always good having people on here to talk some basketball throughout the stream. So thank you so much for tuning in, guys. If you enjoyed this live stream, please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't, and turn on post notification bell so you get notified every single time that we upload something. I will be having my Sun News Spotlight article on Donnie Tillman Wednesday at around noon. It'll be published on lcsunnews.com, so keep an eye out for that. It is subscriber only, so make sure that you're subscribed to the Sun News. It's only $3 for the first 3 months, guys. Straight Shooter Podcast, Wednesday at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. So make sure to tune into that as well. It'll be here on YouTube, on SoundCloud, on Apple Podcasts, lcsunnews.com, pretty much everywhere, Facebook. So keep an eye out for that. And I think that's just about all that we have, folks. Stephen M. saying, great show. Appreciate that. Thanks so much for tuning in, as always, Stephen. And guys, I think that's all that I got here. Hopefully you all are staying safe, staying warm out there, having a good day. Have a great rest of your week. Hopefully I'll see you guys out here tomorrow. This has been Justin Martinez, a.k.a. Jay the Sports Dude, and I'm out.